I had a small little bitty catering business in 1989 called the Silver Spoon. And my customers raved about these little Parker House rolls that we made. And it was my grandmother Gami's recipe, and of course she did call them everlasting rolls. You know, she knew long before I did just how important these rolls would be in perpetuating life and the dreams that so many of us have. That year in 1989, I was asked to donate about 20 pans of my rolls to our church's frozen food fair. And I said, of course I will. So by the next year, we had over 200 orders placed for our rolls, and the next year, 300. Can you just imagine making 300 pans of rolls in your kitchen, just with your little son being mixmaster? and you had to deliver it during the holidays. And, you know, I thought at one point I just lost my mind, you know, I just really had. But, you know, that was the beginning of Sister Schubert's Homemade Rolls, was born from that frozen food fair. But we operated out of my house for about 6 months, and that's when I decided that I needed to take a giant step here and set up a real commercial bakery. It was not very long before I could no longer supervise production, handle delivery, call on new markets by myself. So I turned to a fellow by the name of George Barnes. He was a local food broker, and he expanded our distribution from a few local groceries to major grocery store chains throughout the South. He soon became the other half of the Sister Schubert management team, and he eventually became my own better half in 1995 when we were married. By 1998, we had completed 2 more expansions, and we were baking over 2 million rolls a day. Wow. By that time, my rolls had attracted the attention of several really large corporations who approached me about buying the company. Well, after several months, we narrowed it down to 2 companies and did decide to sell the stock to Lancaster Colony Corporation for 2 reasons. One, they had all the resources to propel Sister Schubert's to national brand status, but more importantly, they had a history of purchasing family-run companies and then asking that family to continue to run the company. So we were just thrilled. And George and I still today remain at the helm of Sister Schubert's. And we have 3 beautiful bakeries now in Luverne, Saraland, Alabama, and Horse Cave, Kentucky. We produce over 6 million rolls a day. Just a little fun fact.
Cast Your Bread Upon the Waters, recipes for cooking, living, and success. What prompted you to do this second book?
Well, I have been asked through the years many times, how did you do it? Would you please tell me your story? And I finally decided, well, if I'm going to tell the story, I've got to also share not only the autobiography, so to speak, of my business success, but I wanted to share some of my 5 generations of great cooks recipes, my family's cherished recipes through the years that we have collected and gathered. So we did that, and the book also talks about something very near and dear to my heart, which is our family's foundation, and we have a wonderful abandoned and orphaned children's site where foster parents care for 63 children right now today live in the beautiful yellow sunshiny home of Sasha's home there in Gorlovka, Ukraine, thanks to the foundation and thanks to my being made aware of the plight of these children in that country. On one of my visits, I was told about the plight of this child who had terribly clubbed feet and that he would never be okay because they didn't have orthopedic surgeons or care for orphans or abandoned children there. And so I said, well, let's bring him to America and we'll fix his feet and surely someone will adopt him. And this gives you some insight into my wonderful husband, George, because sight unseen, he said, honey, I know you, and you're not going to bring a child into our home for 14 months and then return him to someone else to love and care for. So I guess we better start the adoption process. So he has become our 5th child, and I'm happy to report that he's playing soccer, football, baseball, karate. You'd never know that he ever had a problem. All the profits and all the proceeds from this book go back into the charitable foundation. Every city that I have visited recently, I always ask the local people, where's the best place to do a book signing? And then we walk in with a book and say, we'd like to come back and do a book signing here.
How can individuals learn more about your book and how they can get it?
Go to castyourbreaduponthewaters.com. You can also go to sisterschuberts.com. You can go to the barnesfamilyfoundation.org. We have wonderful websites that give you lots and lots of great information about what Sister Schubert's all about and what we're doing.